What's up, everybody? What's going on? How y'all feeling? Welcome to the channel. First and foremost, I want to say welcome to the channel. If you haven't already, please go subscribe. I appreciate everybody that's a part of the NYH community. I appreciate everybody that's been reaching out to me and letting me know that they love the videos I've been dropping. They love the content and they want to know more, right? And before we get down to the nitty gritty, I just want to let you know this video today is going to be about how I started my business and to where I'm at now, right? So just a little bit of background about me, some things that people don't know. I actually been truck driving for 5 years, and I started truck driving in 2020, right? Everything that I speak about today is going to lead up until the point that I started my business and to the point that I'm at now. So something you may not know about me is I did 5 years probation, right? I did 5 years probation from 2014 to 2019. When I was on that 5 years probation, I couldn't leave the city of Fort Lauderdale. I'm from Broward County, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Melrose to be exact. I did 5 years probation, and I felt like I was stuck in a cage, right? So during the time when I was on 5 years probation, all I wanted to do was get out the city, really. So like I couldn't even go to Orlando, if I wanted to, with the stipulations of probation. So I started trucking school in 2019, and I got my CDL license right before COVID started, right? When COVID started, to me, that's when I feel like entrepreneurship was really a big thing. I was working a lot of jobs. I worked a lot of call center jobs. I worked a lot of warehouse jobs. The last job that I worked at before I got my CDL license was actually a warehouse job. When I was working at the warehouse in 2019 and before COVID started, as soon as when I got off probation, I used to think, damn, as soon as when I get off probation, what can I do to remove myself from my comfort zone but still be getting money legally, and I could get away from where all my trouble happened. All my trouble happened in Broward County, right? All of the trouble that I got into was in Broward County. So while I was on the 5 years probation, all I was thinking about is when I get off probation, what can I do to remove myself from the areas where I got in trouble, but still be getting money legally, and that's a career that makes sense, right? It was a lot of options. I would say if I didn't choose to be over the road truck driver, I wanted to be a firefighter, right? That was my my plan A. But because of probably my charges or probation or I don't know, certain things didn't allow me to go through the process with becoming a firefighter. So I chose the CDL route. Some of the reasons what made me choose trucking was actually because, coming from where I'm from and just what I see is trucking is really one of the industries that's a career that your background will not hold you back. It doesn't matter if you've been in prison. It doesn't matter if you got tattoos. It doesn't matter if you got goals. It doesn't matter about any of those things. As long as you can have a regular driver license and convert it to a CDL license, you can become an over-the-road truck driver. So while I was on a 5 years probation, soon as when I got off the probation, I wanted to get away from Lauderdale, and I locked in on getting my CDL license to be a truck driver, right? When I first started trucking, I started trucking with a company called Snyder. I did 7 months with Snyder, and then I left Snyder to go work for a company out of Chicago. I went to go work for Russians out of Chicago, right? And this is the point to where my entrepreneurship journey started. So when COVID came in 2020, I felt like that was the year because a lot of people was out of work. Trucking was one of the only industries that wasn't impacted from COVID, that was not out of work and was still rolling even though other people wasn't, working. So it was actually a good thing that I got my CDL license at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, because even though COVID came and a lot of jobs wasn't open, trucking didn't stop, period. Trucking didn't stop. It's actually more people probably got their CDL license during the time when COVID came because that was one of the only things, that was up and running. But I started driving with a company called Snyder. I did 7 months with Snyder, and then I started working for the Russians out of Chicago. When I started working for the Russians out of Chicago, they let me know in order to get paid, you have to create a LLC and get a business bank account with us in order to get paid, because you will be a 1099 driver. So me, I've always been the type of friend that, I'm always researching. I'm an information junkie. A lot of people come to me for information when it's something that they want to know, something that they want to know about or get clarity about. I always been that guy that's just been so informative, because I do a lot of research, I do a lot of studying, and I'm always helping out, my friends, peers, anybody that's in my inner circle. So when I started working for the company, the Russians out of Chicago, and they told me that you need to get an LLC and a business bank account in order to get paid with us. When I learned the process and what it takes to get a LLC, and I understood that is the first step of legitimizing your business on file and it'll be registered online, I was so intrigued and so hyped up about that. I started calling everybody. I started calling my homeboys, my friends, my homegirls. I started calling everybody. Hey, listen, I just found out the process on how to get an LLC. Because when COVID came, a lot of people was in their entrepreneurship journey. A lot of people picked up side hustles. A lot of people was going into the transition of, wanting to start a business, wanting to start to do their own thing. But a lot of people wasn't really hipped on LLCs yet. So with me being introduced to how to get an LLC, what's the proper way to get it, and being able to get a business bank account, and then they're going to send you a debit card with the name of the LLC on it, and it's legitimized. I was so excited about that. I was letting everybody know, hey, listen, if you got a business idea, you need to go get an LLC. Hey, if you got a business you want to start, you need to go get an LLC. I was putting so much people on to the LLC route that people started asking me, how much would you charge to do the LLC for me? So I didn't even think to start charging for LLCs. I was just, so happy with helping everybody around me that I was just letting everybody know, hey, listen, whatever future ideas that you have, if you want to legitimize this business, the process that you need to do is go get an LLC. And once people started asking me, how much would you charge to do the LLC for me, it clicked in my brain. It automatically clicked in my brain. So I learned something. By working for this trucking company, because it was mandatory in order for me to get paid. Once I learned it, I started telling all of my friends and peers about what's the process and the correct way to get an LLC on file to legitimize the business that they're doing or the business that they want to do in the future. Then people started asking me how much would I charge to do the LLC for them. My first business in my entrepreneurship journey was doing LLCs. I was doing LLCs for $75 plus the Secretary of State fee. That is the first service that I ever did. I wish I could show you guys like my first flyer ever to now, and you could see the transition within the 5 years, and you'll say, wow. But I started off my entrepreneurship journey doing LLCs, right? In 2020, that was the first service that I ever did. I was strictly only doing LLCs, $75 plus the Secretary of State fee, and I was started only doing that in Florida. Once I started to build my clientele and started to learn more about LLCs, and then I opened up and started doing it, for every state, because every state has their own Secretary of State fee, and the prices, the prices is different. Once I started doing LLCs, the money that I was making from trucking, the way how my business grew is I invested in information, right? Like I said before, I'm an information junkie. During COVID, I don't know if you guys remember, everything was like online virtual. It was a lot of people doing courses, master classes, webinars, things like that. So when I started doing LLCs, I was so into, how to start a business. I always been into, credit and things like that. Once you transition in the business, it's different things that come in your vocabulary, and you're going to eventually have to learn, grow, and find out these things, right? Entrepreneurship was a very big word. Funding, right? Funding was the next level of when you're starting a business, you have to get funding. That's the transition from starting a business to growing a business, funding, right? And then I started learning about what is funding, how to get funding. Credit was very important. It wasn't a lot of people that had credit. People wasn't really informative about credit. So what I did was, when I started truck driving and I was able to get my LLC, when I started my LLC business and I was strictly doing LLCs, you cannot teach or you cannot service what you don't know, right? Because you don't know what you don't know. So what I started to do was, I was using the money that I was making from trucking and I was investing into information until I was comfortable to turn it into a service and start charging people. I invested so much into myself. I was doing credit classes, business credit classes, funding classes. I was paying for eBooks. I was on private masterminds. I invested so much into myself, I can't even tell you, right? And I'm still investing into myself to this day. That's the way how I was using my money. I didn't invest in cars. I didn't invest in jewelry. I didn't invest in Rolexes. I didn't invest in bust downs. I seen so much people, during COVID, a lot of people was getting money. A lot of people invested into a lot of things. But what I did was I stayed focused and I invested into information. That's what helped me take my business from starting an LLC business, and then as the years was going past, I was just adding services to my business on and on, right? If I didn't mention this already, the name of my business is NYH Manifest Group, right? I'm very big on manifestation. The tongue is one of the most powerful things, on your body, right? So I believe in manifestation. I believe that you are who you say you are, and you can be who you say you want to be, right? So I'm very big on manifestation. I've always been that type of person. I always put myself, in a space where I want to be, and I always help, other people, let them know that they can be whatever you want to be, but you have to put the work behind it, right? So another thing is, when I started investing into this information, I really found that my passion and my niche was financial literacy, right? Between all of that time, is a lot of things that I balanced around, but I really found the love for financial literacy because I am I am like a teacher, educator type of person. Like, I love teaching. I love giving information. I'm the type of person, like, information, it boosts me up. Sometimes I cannot hold information back. I love feeding information to people if I feel like this can bring value to you or help benefit you in any kind of way. Like, that's just the person I am. So always been that type of person, but also people always known me to be an information junkie, and if it's anything that they want to know in terms of business or growing, always been that type of person to be resourceful, to be able to give them answers or just help anybody around me, because we're all growing together. So during the years of after when I started my LLC business, I was using the money that I was making from the road to invest in information until I was comfortable enough to put it or add the services to my business and start charging for the services. So I have a lot of different services that I offer. I'm a business coach. I run a coaching and consulting business. I teach financial literacy to entrepreneurs and business owners to help them start, grow, or scale their business. So no matter the area or no matter the point that you are in your business, I'm able to help you if you want coaching and mentoring. There's some people that pay me for a service, and there's some people that pay me, for mentoring. Depends on you. Sometimes by the time people get to me, they already have spent a lot of money with a lot of different people. So, they are at the point where they want to learn. There's some people that don't want to learn. They just want to pay you for a service. That doesn't matter. I do a lot of service, all areas of financial literacy, and I help in a lot of areas in business. Only thing that I don't do is I don't do taxes, right? Taxes is not my lane. That's not my thing. I'm very informative about business taxes because I'm a 1099 driver. So I'm very informative about business taxes, but because I'm an over-the-road truck driver and it's very time-consuming, and I also strictly want to stick in my niche, I haven't allowed myself to get into the tax industry. That's just not my lane. I will leave that, to the tax people, and I will just do me, what I know, and what works for me. But now, at the point where I feel like that my business has grown until the point was when I started implementing systems and automations in my business, right? I don't have a team. I'm the only one in my business. I run my business by myself. I've been in business since 2020. We're in 2025. I'm currently 5 years in business. I have grown my business to over a 6-figure business, and I'm still rolling. And I have done all of this while I've been truck driving. So it's some people that say, how do you do it while you're truck driving? I just do it. I don't make excuses, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be clean. But if you want to grow, you have to start, right? Just like YouTube. If you want to grow your community, if you want to grow your channel, you have to start. You don't have to worry about all of the clean cameras and all of those things like that. Just start, right? I'm sitting right here in the 18-wheeler truck right here, just talking to you guys, letting you know how I started my journey. 2020 COVID. As soon as I got off probation 2019, first thing I went and did was got my CDL license because I wanted to remove myself from my comfort zone. I started driving for Snyder. I drove for Snyder for 7 months, and then I left, started working for Russians out of Chicago. When I was working for the Russians out of Chicago, they told me that I had to get an LLC and a business account in order for me to get paid from them. Once I learned the process on how to get an LLC, I started letting everybody know, hey, you need to get an LLC. Hey, you need to get an LLC. Hey, this is the process on how to get an LLC. Once I became the LLC guy, people started asking me how much would I charge for me to do the LLC for them. I eventually started my own LLC business, right? I was charging $75 plus the Secretary of State fee, whatever state that you're in. I was doing that for a while until I invested in myself, that I was able to learn other information, credit, business credit, funding, LLCs, trade lines, auto loans. It's so much different services, but the main thing that I was focusing on is all areas of financial literacy and how, what can I study, or what areas do I need to focus on that I can turn into a business or a service, and I need to teach. Now I'm at the point in my business now in 2025 where I'm going to start my own financial literacy mentorship, right? My mentorship will be a 3-month mentorship. And like I said, during this process, what helped me grow my business, I would say, is remaining a student to the game. You have to be a student to the game. No matter what you know or how much you think you know, you always have to be willing to learn. I never put myself in a position where I know everything. It doesn't matter how many years you've been in business, you're going to have to still be open to learning because the world transitions. The world doesn't stay the same. The way how things work in 2020 and 2025 is a very big difference, right? You always have to be willing to learn. You have to know how to adapt to change. You have to stay updated. It's people that's looking up to you. It's people that's looking up to me. So I'm always researching. I'm always keeping myself up to date and staying on top of my game, because I have a lot of people that's, depending on me. I have a lot of people that's, motivated by me, and I have a lot of people that I'm servicing, right? In this year, in 2025, once I start my mentorship, let me just say this. I'm interested in starting my mentorship after summer is over. So once August comes, I'm interested in starting my mentorship, right? It's going to be a 3-month mentorship because I want to do a class every quarter, right? It's 4 quarters in a year. The reason I'm not doing a year mentorship or have anything that I'm doing for a year is because I want to be able to give the information and be able to let you go execute the information, right? So I'm at a point in my business now where I serviced a lot of people, and I feel like that I'm doing a disservice by just charging people for a service, but it's still not being informative about anything. Like, some people come to me, they pay me for credit repair, but they don't know how to keep their credit. So I can fix their credit, but they go back and mess it up because I didn't teach them, right? So now I'm at a point where I'm interested in mentoring and coaching and doing classes so I can be able to teach everybody, and everybody can learn, because there's you can pay a lot of people for a service, but if you don't know what you're doing, you're still going to have to, eventually bump your head, yes, and grow. But it's better for you to learn when you come to me. So by the time you're finished with your service from me, or anything that I taught you can help you now, the future, 5 years, 10 years, right? And I do public speaking. I go speak at schools. I'm interested in starting to speak at the Boys and Girls Clubs now. I haven't started speaking at the Boys and Girls Club. Yes, if I have anybody on my channel that's watching this video right now, if you have any connections with the school board, if you have any connections with the Boys and Girls Club, I want you to reach out to me. I do public speaking and financial literacy, all ages, elementary school, middle school, high school. Mainly middle school and high school because they are a little older and they could comprehend a little bit more. Elementary school would be more of like a motivational speaker kind of talk, but middle school and high school, I could really be able to, give them information that they could be able to apply in daily life and also just be ahead, in the financial literacy space, right? So anybody that's, in the school board, I'm in Broward County, Florida. That's where I'm from. But I'm open to any state. I'm an over-the-road truck driver, so I really have an advantage over other people because I'm in a lot of states that people are not in. So it doesn't matter what state you're in, California, Ohio, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Minnesota, South Dakota, any state that you're in, if you have connections with the school board or Boys and Girls Club, or if you can connect me with somebody that's interested in having public speakers come out speaking on financial literacy or speaking on trucking in general, comment up under this video, right? Comment up on this video, let me know, or send me a DM to my Instagram page. My Instagram page is @TruckMoneyCaddy. Send me a DM, and I'll be glad to do public speaking to the kids and to the youth because it's not a lot of people that's speaking, on financial literacy, and we also know that this needs to be taught, right, in the schools, right? But let's get back, let's get back to, to the point of me growing and scaling my business. Like I was saying, now I'm at the point where I serviced a lot of people. But at 5 years in my business, I feel like I'm at a point where I need to start teaching in a group setting. Because I feel like I could be able to reach more people. And I could be able to explain more information and teach everybody. Everybody learns different. I will still offer one-on-one mentoring if you don't like to be taught in a group setting. If you need individual coaching and mentoring, that service is also available too. But my group mentorship is mainly a 3-month mentorship, financial literacy mentorship, where I'm gonna be covering everything. I'm covering all areas of financial literacy and finances. So when you come in, I'm coming to put it all on the line, no gatekeeping. I know there's a lot of people that, gatekeep, or they only want to tell you half of the information, but I'm going to give it all. I'm going to give it all to you. So from the time that I started my business and to the point that I am and now, it's all about mindset. It's all about mindset, right? And I'm going to tell you why. I used to have a question that I used to hate. One of the questions that I used to hate that people ask me is people used to say, "Oh, where do you see yourself in 5 years?" I used to hate that question because I wasn't thinking that far. I'm thinking about right now. Why are you asking me, where do I see myself in 5 years? That is a real question that needs to be answered because you may not have the correct answer, but you need to have a direction to where you're going so you know if you're going left, if you're going right. Right? If you would have asked me in 2020, where do I see myself in 5 years? My answer probably wouldn't have been here where I'm at, but it would have been close to this direction so I know what I'm working towards, because your mind always changes, your thoughts always change, your goals always change, life always change. But if you don't have a 1-year goal, 3-year goal, 5-year goal, 10-year goal, what are you working towards, right? Of course, everybody wants to be in business to make money, but what are you working toward? Are you trying to grow your business, right? Are you trying to have employees? Are you trying to build your business to sell your business? What are you trying to do? My business is an online coaching business. So, all I need is my laptop, iPad, my phone, Wi-Fi. That's really all I need. Will I get to a point where I may want to add employees in my business? Yes. Right? Do I want to get to $1 million in my business? Yes. Right? That's the goal. There's a lot of things that I want to do in my business, but you need to be able to have a goal or Yeah, you need to be able to have a goal so you know what you're working towards. And everything is not going to be perfect. It's some people that's waiting to start their business because they want to be perfect. It's some people that's waiting to, you know, do a service or create a flyer because they want it to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. You have to believe in yourself. You have to have a vision, and you have to have a business plan. Okay? Some people start their business without a business plan. I will say that. I started my business without a business plan. I didn't have a business plan when I first started my business. That comes with experience. That comes with growth, right? That comes with trial and error. You need to have a business plan. You know, if I would have known that 5 years ago, certain mistakes that I probably would have made wouldn't have happened. One thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to invest in yourself. You're going to have to invest in yourself, and you cannot play, right? I'm still investing in myself to this day because knowledge is key. You could take my laptop, you could take my iPad, you could take my phone, you could take my email. You cannot take the knowledge that's already been invested into me, because I invested so much into myself where I do this in my sleep. Right? And this is my passion. This is something that I love to do. This is something that I'm very passionate about. Everybody has a lot of different reasons on why they started their business, or what keeps them, you know, going into their business. This is actually something that, you know, I like to do. You know, like I'm really, you know, I'm very invested, you know, into financial literacy. I'm very invested into teaching people. Like, that's just me. That's just what I have a passion for, and that's just what's grown on me, what's my calling. You know, and I'm just here to help you guys. Just like for the people that's, you know, in my channel, that's watching my channel, some people that's probably new to my channel, or some people that's probably been, you know, on my channel. If you know me, you know that I put it all on the line. I put my heart into it. It's no gatekeeping, and I'm just trying to be transparent with you guys, just letting you know where I came from. You know, I didn't go too far back. You know, before the 5 years probation. That'll be on another video. I will do that, you know, for you guys. But mainly in a lump sum, you know, I just wanted to say I think it's been a good 5 years. Let me say that. Let me say that first and foremost. It's been a good 5 years. It's been a good 5 years, and I'm very happy that I'm at this point in my business right now, because it's only growth, right? It's only growth, and it's now it's time for a new level in the business, and I need people to get really serious about what you're doing. I need you to get real serious about what you're doing, because time is moving fast. Time is moving so fast. Excuse me. Time is moving so fast, and you're going to find yourself in business for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. And what is the growth? Are you stagnant in your business? Have you got a business coach, right? Do you have a mentor? That's another thing. I would probably say it wasn't until my first 3 years in business until I got a mentor, right? I didn't have a mentor. A mentor is very important. If you're watching this video right now and you're interested, you know, in a mentor, comment up under this video, mentor, or send me a DM on my Instagram, right? I do offer coaching and mentoring to anybody that's starting a business, building a business, or scaling a business. No matter what level you are in business, you need to have a mentor or a business coach. Millionaires and billionaires have mentors and business coach that actually benefit you by being affiliated with somebody that's like-minded in business, that has multiple years experience in the industry that they're in, that can maybe help prevent certain mistakes, you know, or just give you knowledge to help things be a little bit more easier in your business, right? It's certain people that may not be comfortable with the conversations, or you know, you can't have a conversation with them in the areas of business that you want to do. So it's very important to get a mentor or a business coach. I learned that when it got serious in my business, to where I felt like I was overwhelmed with the amount of people that I was servicing, and I didn't know what was the next step in my business for me to do. When I got a business coach and a mentor, that's when I learned about automations. That's when I learned about systems. That's something that's very important, you know, in business. You have to learn automations, right? Because, like, let's just say like me, you know, I run my business by myself. I don't have employees. I don't have a team. But my automations is my team. So I'm every department in my business, but my automations and my systems save me so much time that I don't have to be as hands-on in my business, and certain stuff still get done. When I first started business, I was driving myself crazy because I was doing so much. I was so overwhelmed. But I was overwhelmed in a good way because I was putting my all into my business, but it still takes a toll on you. The more you grow in business, the more things that you will learn. That just comes with, experience, trial and error, but you had to start from somewhere. So now I built my business from startup to a 6-figure business. Now I'm working to a 7-figure business, right? That's my goal. I wanna do 1 million in a year, in my business. That's my goal. That's what I'm working towards. I want to do 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's what I'm working towards. And I just want to build my community, my NYH community. Shout out to everybody who's been rocking with me. Shout out to all my clients who I service. Shout out to all my truck drivers out there that reach out to me, that's inspired, by my content, by my channel. And shout out to all the new people that's just not coming along, that just now, finding out who I am, or just now seeing my channel, or just not seeing my content. Shout out to you. Listen, I want to be able to help everybody, and I want you to know, when you come on my channel, I'm giving you the raw and uncut, and I'm giving it to you straight from the heart, and I'm putting it all on the line. Okay? I don't know about no other YouTube channel, but this one right here is big business or no business. That's the motto in my business. Okay? We don't use the word small business around here. It's big business or no business. Everything you do is big business or no business. And I need you to know that. I need you to believe in that, right? The name of my business is NYH Manifest Group. Like I said earlier in the video, I'm very, very big on manifestation, right? The tongue is a very powerful thing. You are who you say you are, and you can do whatever you believe you can do. You just got to be able to put the work in, right? So I just want to say, man, thank you to everybody, who've been tapped in with me. Thank you to everybody who's been watching my channel. And like I said, if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. We're trying to build the channel. We're trying to build the community. I wanted to give you guys just a little insight about me, on how I started my business and to the point that I am now, and what certain things that, transcribed throughout that process. I've been in business for 5 years, started in 2020, and we still going. We still going. So listen, shout out to y'all. It's your boy Truck Money Caddy. Listen, I'm out here. I appreciate everybody for watching the channel, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, leave me some feedback in the comments, right? I want to get some feedback from my people. I want you to, I want to know if is it certain key points that I missed out. I maybe can make another YouTube video based off the comments that you put. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, right? Send this video to somebody. If you got inspired, by this video, just leave a comment. Up under this video right now. I'm very interested in, interacting with my people in the community. I like to interact, right? I like to interact. I like the feedback. I need the feedback because it'll help me grow. It'll help the channel grow. And it'll help me reach. It'll help you reach me directly, right? I respond to all comments. And it'll be me directly responding to you. If you have any questions for me about this video, drop it in the comments. If you want to give me any feedback, drop it in the comments, right? I will appreciate that. Listen, it's your boy Truck Money Caddy, man, and we out. It's big business or no business. You know that.